This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, fresh off the aeroplane. I love it. How many drinks did you have on the plane?
Actually, none, Big O. Surprisingly, it's a morning flight. I'm being a good human being.
I was going to say, I was going to slam you.
Mostly
how are you
because
doing drinking in the morning, bro? What's wrong with you?
I do drink in the morning. I'm not saying I'm too good for that, but I have been on the road for 8 straight days, and I've drank probably every day. And so I felt like today I'm going to give my liver a break.
Okay.
And so,
right. There you go. A little water. More water today.
Water never hurt anybody, right?
A little more filterization today. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right. I want to run this by you because I had a little fun. Obviously, I had the fans are fans. Hey, let's trade Lynn Bowden and Preston and a 86th round pick, and let's go get Roquan. But hearing that Roquan wants to get traded, and as you know, the Dolphin Nation wants to trade for anybody and everybody. You've learned that now, right? You've learned that anybody that becomes available, free agency, trade, whatever, Dolphins must trade for him.
Oh, absolutely. I felt like that was solidified when they tried to demand, the fan base tried to demand they trade for Deebo Samuel after they traded for Tyreek Hill and also had Jalen Waddle and just paid Cedric Wilson.
That's right, exactly. It's like, no, we've got all this money. We're going to pay for another guy. Yeah, right. Of course. We got Waddle down the line. Yeah, no, we print money like Biden. Of course we can pay everybody. No,
it's not.
No, but let's
get my money.
In all seriousness, Jerome Baker in a 4th rounder. Cheap ass Bears they just traded one guy back over to the Rams who's a monster, and they I guess they were tired of paying him. Wasn't that place linebacker home or something back in the day with the Bears?
Yeah, anyway, Urlacher and Briggs and
I mean it goes on from all the way back to Butkus and stuff, and all the way through Ditka's time and all those guys and Anderson, all these guys that they had at linebacker for many years. Now, hell, there's one of their linebackers is the coach for Washington, bro.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's rich, the history of linebackers on that damn team. But now all of a sudden, they don't seem to be wanting to keep their linebackers around. And so you want to go a little bit cheaper. Well, you know what? This guy's under contract. You want to improve at the linebacker spot. Chicago both play the weak side. Now all of a sudden they get their guy signed for a couple of years in Jerome Baker. Miami improves with Roquan. What do you think about that? Or is the 4th rounder too low? Do you have to spice it up to the 3rd or possibly? I think the 2nd's a little too much, but
yeah. So it's interesting because I'm not sure what his trade value is going to be. It's tough for a player who plays he's a good player, but he plays a non-premium position. He plays a non-premium position, and he's going to
wants money.
And he wants premium money, right? So the top of the linebacker market, you're looking at $17, $18 million a year. And clearly his issue with the Bears offer is that it was backloaded and it didn't have a lot of guarantees. And so if he gets traded elsewhere, he's going to want to have a lot of guarantees, a lot of upfront money with there. And so obviously the Dolphins already put a bunch of capital into Tyreek Hill, into Teron Armstead. They lost the 2 draft picks for Stephen Ross. And so you have to ask yourself, is this the premium move? Like, I think you make this move if you feel like you're a Roquan Smith away from a championship. And although I think the Dolphins have a lot of higher expectations, I don't know that they're championship, one player away from a championship yet. I think they've got to prove it out there on the field. And so there's obviously a need there. I just don't know if I'm the Dolphins, if I feel like that's the move, giving up not only the trade compensation, but also the money.
That's not 4th rounders. The 4th rounder is not the end of the world. Because
true.
The problem is with the Bears. The problem with the Bears, and you understand this, Joe Fan at times doesn't understand this. If the guy wants a brand new contract, well, that will kill the value of your trade more often than not, unless he's a superstar player like Tyreek, like whatever, a quarterback or a top-notch wide receiver, but a linebacker and not a middle linebacker, like you said, like you were talking about. that you can't command the same. So your trade value is going to get hurt because the team that's acquiring him has to also give up, money. That's why I said you're doing the Bears a favor by giving them a guy that's already under contract to fill that position. You give them a 4th rounder, but you also have to give Roquan a new deal. And I'm looking at Baker's deal right now. His base salary is 6.5. His cap hit is 9.7.
Right.
So you figure we're talking about another $6 million, $7 million on top of the 9.7, that would be the cap hit. It would be in the, like you said, 15, 16, 17 range. You know what I'm saying? And we're a no tax state, so maybe you get a little break there.
So for Jerome, he's making 6.5 this year, but the cap numbers, because he's already had some signing bonus prorated.
It's another thing that the cheap ass Bears don't have to pay the signing bonus.
Right. So that's going to stay on the cap regardless. So you'll save $6.5 million if you moved him in this hypothetical deal. So you're probably still paying an extra $10 million more for Roquan there. So that's what you would have to figure out money wise. But yeah, obviously Roquan Smith's a better linebacker than Jerome Baker, so it will be an upgrade. My question is that upgrade worth doing? I don't know if a 4th round pick doesn't. Like I'm not sure. Like I'd be speculating right now if I told you what the trade value of Roquan.
Yeah,
Smith.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just
a 4th rounder seems low for a guy who's been I think 2 or 3 time All Pro. I think what is it? Two time
second team All Pro.
Right. Who's a top 10 pick. I would imagine it has to be a day 2 pick, a 2nd or 3rd round pick. But who knows? Like I said, I think that Dolphins definitely should sniff around on it. It doesn't hurt.
Hey, listen, Baker's on the contract 22, 23, and 24, bro. The cheap ass Bears.
Right.
And they didn't pay the signing bonus. So basically they're paying him 6.5, 8.4, and 10.7 for the next 3 years.
Right. Yeah, so
I'm just thinking of the frugalness of the Bears. I'm trying to accommodate the frugalness of the Bears. They want to shop at the Dollar Tree. Let's help them out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hey, pitch it to Chris Greer. See what he's got. Maybe he sends it through, and maybe
Marvin, Reggie, let's go.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Get it going. Now, I mean, because somebody goes to me, let's trade him Gesicki. And I'm like, dude, they don't need a tight end. Plus, the Bears over the years have collected on tight ends.
Right.
They've been getting rid of tight ends the last couple of years.
They traded Shaheen to Miami because they had too many. And now Shaheen's going to get cut probably this year because the Dolphins have too many. So, but yeah, so the one thing there is that, Tyndall, you draft him in the 3rd round. You're hopeful, like maybe he doesn't ever become a Roquan Swift type player, but you're hopeful he eventually becomes that outside linebacker that you could have under contract young and be a contributor. Maybe not immediately at an impact, huge impact level in year 1, but you hope eventually. So if you're making that move, you're either slowing his development or saying, hey, maybe he wasn't as good as we thought we were. So a lot of things come into factor there. So I don't think it's easy peasy as get the biggest name. And the other thing about Roquan Smith, there's like people across the league who wonder if he's a bigger name than he is a player. And so I think he's a good player. So I'm not necessarily in that group, but there is some differencing opinions on.
No, but you said the right adjective. He's a good player. He's not a great player. He's a good player.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
And that's, I think that's what you need on this team. You need as many good players. And I think he's a little bit more of a thumper than Jerome is. And I kind of like that. He won the
Buckus in college at Georgia.
I'm sorry?
He won the Buckus Award in college at Georgia.
Right. Yeah. I like Jerome, but I know that Jerome is more of I hate this is going to sound like negative, but he's kind of more of a finesse linebacker. Yeah. He's like an athletic linebacker.
Right.
And I kind of think you need a little bit more of a thumper and somebody that won't get lost in the trash, which is the traffic. Yeah. And Roquan's really good at penetrating and creating some plays. And I just think him and with Tyndall, you start to form, and by the way, these guys love their SEC guys too, on top of all of that.
Yep.
It would be a nice, It would be a nice pairing, but again, I don't know what the hell the Bears are thinking.
Right. It's a team
by the way, what's his deal? Is this the last year on his deal?
I know he was a first round pick, in 17? So I don't know if he's playing on his 5th year in 18. So he might be playing on his 5th year option. He's playing on his 5th year option. This is his year for his 5th year option. So he's technically under contract, but this is the last year unless they franchise tagged him. So,
they're certainly not going to franchise tag him.
Right.
That's where the Bears are going to have to crap or get off the pot, my friend.
Yeah.
Because then you lose him next year at the end of the year. Because as you know, if they tag him, that's a hard cap number that you're going to have to tag.
Right. I think that linebacker number will probably, because he's probably getting maybe 10, 11, I think, this year off the linebacker franchise tag. I mean, off the 5th year option. I mean, but
9.7 is his base salary. That's exactly what his salary is all the way across the board.
Right. So I'm guessing if he got franchise tag, I can't remember the linebacker franchise tag numbers off the top of my head, but I think it would probably be somewhere around the 15 range. And like you said, it would be all guaranteed and it would be all on the cap. So that
they don't want to pay him.
Right. So actually the linebacker tag.
Listen to this, how disgusting this is. And I'm all with Roquan right now. Okay. They don't want to pay him. They want to backload everything.
Yep.
Dude, his base salary, 480, 1.3, 750, and 920,000 the last 4 years. Yeah. His cap hits, it was 3.3, 4.1, 5.1, all that, because he did get a bonus at the beginning. And so it's broken down. So he got a bonus, an $11 million signing bonus. But dude, you look at his salaries, his whole contract was $18 million for 4 years. You got you
got a bargain. You got a bargain
for 4 years, and now you're not willing to pay so you can keep the guy and it kind of balances out.
Yep.
I mean, that's disgusting.
So I just looked it up. The franchise tag number for linebackers this year was actually 18.5. Because the outside linebackers are grouped in with inside linebackers. So the pass rushers like Von Miller and
Khalil Mack, they just traded the guys.
All those guys who are making 20, 25 million are all grouped in. And so Roquan Smith, if you franchise tag him, is making double his salary at least next year, close to $20 million, fully guaranteed, all in your cap.
They have.
So you're right. There's no way they're doing that. So that's why Roquan knows he has leverage, because you either trade me and get something for me, or I'm walking. Because I am not taking your backloaded, non-guaranteed fluff deal. And I respect that.
And how many teams at this point still have cap space? Like Miami.
Yeah. Not many.
So you have to trade him now or by the deadline.
Right.
Because once the deadline crosses, you will lose him for nothing because you're too cheap of an organization to tag him for 18 million. That number, that number is based on this year. It won't be based
on, it would be the top 5 linebackers next year.
The year before.
So typically it goes up slightly, but if something happens in the market where it lowers, then technically it could lower. But I'd say that's probably roughly a good measure of what it would be next year.
Yes. That's all right. How much you looking forward to Dolphins Bucks this week? I mean, when we talk about watching the first 2 weeks, unlike what we're hearing from the Patriots, that the offense is losing every single day. That's one of the good things that, because some people say, the quarterbacks weren't that sharp today. Well, dude, they do have good players on the other side. So it's nice to see that the Dolphin offense does win some days and the defense wins some days. Mm-hmm. So now it's good to see what happens against the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm eager to see it, man. I still have to figure out if I'm going up there. I think I told you last week, we're going to have a crew on set on Wednesday from practice. It's the last day of our Inside Training Camp show at NFL Network. I may go up for Thursday's practice, but I still have to hear from my boss if I am or not. But
you want to be there for the practices. Because my buddy was telling me, I can't wait for the game. I go, dude,
I'm definitely not staying for the game.
The game is just. I told him the game is dog shit, dude. If Tua plays one series, you're lucky. I told him it's all about Wednesday and Thursday, my friend. It's the practices. Right. That's where the meat of the matter is going to happen. That's where you're going to get to see first team against first team more than ever. You will not see anything in that game. Like Teron Armstead, I don't even expect him to play on Saturday.
Right. but I want to see him practice. And I may sound like Omar Kelly here, but the thing I'm most excited about is to see the trenches, because I've told you this before. My biggest question mark still on this team 2 weeks in training camp is the offensive line. I don't know if Connor Williams can be a good center. I just don't know it. I don't know if the Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg experiments are going to work or not. I just don't know. All I know is that if Teron Armstead's healthy, he's going to solidify the left tackle spot, and I'm pretty sure Robert Hunt is going to be good. That's the only 2 spots I feel good about, and even those kind of have a little bit of caveats. So I want to see that defensive line of the Bucs, who have some really good pass rushers, or if they dominate, then my worry level goes from to all the way up. So I want to see that matchup. I want to see how some of these corners face off, not X, but Noah and Nick Needham and some of these other guys, because we haven't talked about it much, but Byron Jones is still not out there. And so the team is kind of saying, hey, we're hopeful for week 1, but we're getting closer to the middle of August. If we're getting into week 1, week 2 of the preseason and Byron Jones still isn't practicing, then you may have to start to realize that you might have to start Noah week 1. And if that's the case, is he ready for it? And so these matchups are going to be give you good perspective of where you are in some really key situations with your young players. And so the Bucs are a Super Bowl contender. And so you're going to figure out how close you truly are. The Dolphins have said all offseason, we feel like we're close. We're not that far away. Well, we're going to see. If you get your butt kicked in joint practices, maybe you might not be as close as you think. If you're going punch for punch with them, then okay. Maybe we do need to take some of that hopium that Big O wants to prescribe. So I think it's not the end all be all, but we'll learn more about the Dolphins, I believe, in these 2 days of practice than we learned over the first 2 weeks of training camp.
And you nailed it, dude. The concern is all about the O-line. Without the O-line, coaches won't be able to do what they want to do on offense, and Tua will not be the best he can be, and the running game will not be able to have any success, and you'll sound like the Patriots practice right now. So it's really all about those 5 guys up front and the coaches that are coaching those guys. To me, that's the end-all be-all to this season, because the defense, I think, is going to be a pretty good defense overall. Not a great defense, but I think they'll be good. They should be even better if you do have an offense that can actually give you some leads. We've seen this Dolphin defense with a lead. It's much better. The attacking, the way they get after people, there are much better front loading, or was a front running type of defense. They're much better that way. So I'm with you, dude. It's really all about those 5 guys settling down. And if they don't settle down, it's going to be a long season, brother.
Right. And we've talked so much about the run game being the anchor of this offense. You can't run the ball if you can't block. And so we've seen that really since I've been covering this team here in Miami for the last 4 or 5 years.
It's been going on longer than that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about my experience seeing it up close. I'm sure you've seen it for decades before, but you get excited about these running backs. Like, oh, man, these running backs are going to do here, these new bodies. And then they run into brick walls. It doesn't matter how fast Raheem Mostert is.
Unless you have Ricky, unless you have like a freak, it's hard. Like that line was good. It was a decent line, but it wasn't a great line. It's just that Ricky was, you know what I mean? It's just, he's that special. And when none of these backs are that. So, yeah, they're going to need those 5 guys to do their damn job, man. And that's the only way the passing game is going to work. Just is. You know?
And interior pressure in particular is what I'm thinking about. Like for a guy like Tua, who's a smaller quarterback, he's got to be able to have the feel inside the offensive line. So, Vita Vea is going to have a test for Connor Williams. We're gonna figure. He don't have to face many guys like Vita Vea, but it's gonna be something. And so I'm eager to see both joint practices. Honestly, like 2 weeks from now, we get to see the Eagles too, and that's gonna be a really good challenge.
I'll be here in the backyard. So I get to see that
here. So and that's a team that even more so than the Bucs have skill sets that can really challenge them. I'd love to see Jalen Hurts running. One thing that's bothered this team for a while is a running quarterback. How are they on defense containing the edge when you've got true threats at receiver like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but still a running quarterback? That's something I'm eager to see. Philly has a good defensive line too, so it's not like they can take a break as well. So, training camp is great seeing your guys go against your guys, but I want to see him against two really good defenses and teams and see how they stack up.
Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe. Catches exceptional work there at the NFL Network because he is savoir-faire. He is everywhere.
Everywhere, man. Everywhere.
That's
I am
it.
immediately going to catch a nap because I've been 8 straight days on the road and I finally got back home. So it has been a ride, though.
There you go. And if you need a little liquor, just call Liquor Split later on, and then they'll take care of it.
I will. I'll have it delivered to the house. I was sober up until 1 o'clock, so I've done my liver good, right?
You've done it really good. You've done a really good job. You're really responsible.
That's what I'm trying to be.
Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe and catch him there at the NFL Network. And twice a week here with our KSDT CPA Miami Dolphins and NFL Report. Cam, thank you as always, my brother. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Have a good one, Big O.
You got it. There you go. Cameron Wolfe getting it done. And you know who also gets it done? Well, of course, KSDT. They know how to get it done. And it's not just CPAs. So they don't just do your taxes, whether it's your home taxes, whether it's your business taxes. No. They do forensic accounting. They do business valuation. So you want to find out if everything is going well in your business right now. You want to make sure before you sell it, what you can sell it at, what's it worth, or maybe you're buying a business and you want to make sure that it's worth what they're telling you, that it's producing what they're telling you. KSDT can do all of that for you to make sure you're headed down the right path. Management advisory services, healthcare advisory, property management, wealth management, got to plan ahead, valuation. They do it all, folks. And 3 great offices now in Dadeland, in Weston, and in West Palm Beach. 3 offices throughout South Florida and ready to help you. KSDT, 305-670-3370. That's 305-670-3370 for KSDT CPA.